Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Abhay Gupta. I'm representing myenersave. I'm the founder for the company, and we are focusing on energy savings leveraging the latest smart meters deployment by the utilities. So we are more of the new digital age kind of savings. Let's just jump into what we do. Our primary, what we do primarily is today we all get energy bill, which is a single bill. We don't know what's happening in the house. We get the bill and we pay, but we just don't know what to do. We try a lot of different things, like vampire loads and figuring out things, but they're a very small fraction of what savings you can really get. What we do is we use the data from smart meter and use the signature analytics without using any plug level hardware. This is the most important part because that's what makes this scalable. Without using any plug level hardware, just using the software signature analytics, we break down the usage for residential and small commercial into individual appliances and loads. Now what that does is, first of all, it provides you an appliance level itemized bill. From that point on, you know exactly where the money went, where are the biggest portions, and then you can do something about it. Now, what we do further is we provide personalized recommendations and alerts, which is your house, your appliance, your behavior, not your neighbors, not for the county, not something statistically. And from that point on, there can be customized appliances and other programs by utilities. But even in the absence of those, there's a huge savings that homeowners can get just on their own by acting on recommendations. It is very similar to Mint for financing, if you're familiar with what Mint does. The expected average conservation for a house is about 5%, which is done by, there's a number of studies that have been done in past that show what this technology can bring. And 5% is not per house. What happens is, not everybody acts on this. Let's say only 25% of the homes act on the information you provide them. But the homes that act on it can get easily 20, 25, 30% savings. So on an average, across the platform is what you get of the order of 5%. So that's where the 5% comes from. So how it works is, when you have smart meter, so we plan to go from the home area network side, not from the AMI side. So the data that is being collected by the utilities from the AMI today is either 15 minutes or 1 hour from the meter to the back office. And that's not good enough to do this is called disaggregation into loads. That's not good enough because it doesn't have enough information or granularity. What we plan to do is we work with the smart meter data that comes into the house through the Zigbee, capture that using any Zigbee receiver gateway. It's available from multiple companies, and then take it to the cloud through the IP connection, through the broadband router in the house. Now, once the data is in the cloud, we are purely cloud-based software today. We can be in the house in future, but today we are primarily cloud-based because that's the most scalable way. From the cloud, we do all the analysis, and then we present the information, solution, and all the ways to save energy and money to the consumers using their existing phones, iPad, computer, PC, laptop, doesn't matter. So we really don't need consumers to invest anything in hardware as long as they are getting the home area network data. Now, today, there could be gateways, but in future, this could become practically zero cost because the broadband router companies are planning to include Zigbee radio as a hardware, which means you could be talking directly to the meter, to your broadband router, and you just don't need any kind of hardware. The cost of hardware today could be as low as $30, depending on you have screen or non-screen based gateway. So just a quick peek into technology, because the first question I get is, how do you do it? So what happens is, whenever an appliance is turned on and off, they leave some kind of a signature on the waveform. And what we are getting is this waveform from the smart meter, and we use these signatures to extract them out of this composite waveform and say what appliance was turned on at what time, how much energy it consumed, and that's how we provide consumers an itemized bill. For example, if you look at this, you will see different appliances showing different signatures in the waveform. It'll be more clear in the next slide. So this is actually real data from our platform. We have thousands of users. Real data from our platform. The blue line that you see in each of the 4 charts is the whole house waveform that you would get from smart meter or any energy monitor from outside the house. And the colored lines that you see in each of these 4 screenshots is the individual appliance actually extracted out. So what you will see is each appliance has its own signature. Now, think of it as voice recognition. Two people may say the same thing, but their accents are different. Same way, 2 refrigerators may look similar, but they may have slightly different signatures. But the category of refrigerator is going to be very different from category of dryers. So what we do is we really don't rely on a specific signature being stored in a library. We do a lot of data mining things, just like what's done in voice recognition and image recognition, and we extract signatures from the single waveform, and that's how we break it down into individual appliances.
Can you talk about the frequency of this sample?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
The data frequency for...
Oh, okay. The good question. So, so what you see here is a 1-minute plot. The data in this plot was sampled every minute. Now, there are several technologies out there that use very high frequency sampling, so last 10 years of research was primarily done in very high frequency sampling, about 10 to 15 kilohertz of sampling, which is where all the research was done. And when you do the frequency sampling at that high frequency, you get the transients to figure out the difference between a motor and a heater, which is basically a capacitive element versus a resistive element. The problem with that approach we figured was that data is not going to be available from smart meter. And if you want to go out install a $200, $300, $400 worth of hardware in every home, that's not scalable, because that's not going to happen for residences. So what we did was we started with what is going to be available from smart meter, which is somewhere between a few seconds to a minute of sampling rate. And we started with that data, and we are creating the solution using just that data. So that way, our solution is scalable once the smart meters are in place. So we act off data which is sampled anywhere between a few seconds to up to 1 minute in that range. Now, when you start going to 15 minutes, you start losing the information. You can still get big loads. You can still get a pool pump running over 4 hours. That's fine. But you won't get all the nuances, and accuracy goes down. So one of the things which we've been following with CPUC is once the home area network data opens up, the consumer would be able, that's what we're expecting, and I think some of these rules are yet to be defined, would be able to get their data and share it with a third party, provided the third party is meeting certain security and privacy restrictions. So we are trying to match all the fair information practices stuff put forward by the PUCs.
So I just want to clarify that the meter itself isn't collecting 1 minute or 1 second samplings.
No.
But they're basically accessing the meter to get that sampling.
Right. So meter doesn't store that 1 second data. Meter for the home area network, meter would just broadcast and forget about it. And the Zigbee gateway in the house is typically capturing and throwing it out to the cloud. Meter typically just stores that 15-minute interval, which is sent back to the back office, or 1 hour.
For residential, it's typically
an hour, exactly.
But you have to get permission, right? You can't just...
Not for the home area network. That's what our understanding is, but we would like to hear from.
So you're saying there's no plug level hardware required, but it requires having a home area network?
Absolutely not. That's how we make it scalable.
But it requires a home area network?
It requires a home area network to get the granularity. Now, if you as a utility were able to provide us the 1 minute granularity from AMI network, we could do it through the AMI. Then we don't need to rely on home area network.
The idea is that it requires some feed of some minimum frequency sampling, but home area network is almost like a bigger thing, right? In theory, but
yes.
But this is just data from the meter that all you need is data from the meter.
All we need is data from
The data
meter.
sampling rate so that you can
Exactly.
at the right granular level.
No, I understand. You don't need an additional sensor, but it's something you can roll out from a utility standpoint and just provide this report to all our customers without them having additional...
No, you can't. So that is why once you open up the radios, it becomes a consumer-centric application, not a utility-centric. However, help from utility can make it go much farther. So the next question we get is what appliances do we itemize? What do we cover? So the pie chart here is from the buildings data book from 2010, which shows where does the electrical energy is consumed within the homes. And we focus on what is the largest consumption. So we focused on refrigerators, air conditioners, pool pumps, dryers, space heating, space cooling, And always on is a category where things are always on, like DVRs, they're always running. So, and I'll show you some real data where you'll see what the value of always on is. Now this takes 80% of the home data, and that is where the real savings are. The rest is all noise, your hair dryers, your vampire loads, you can work on it, but the return back is very little. Then we can deal with generation. So we have users who have generation, we'll show you some slides. And then we can also deal with electric vehicles. We are still collecting the information on that. I'm sorry?
I was just commenting that electric vehicles should be easy to pick up.
Yeah. I do have users who have electric vehicles, and most of them kick in at 12 in the night because the chargers come pre-programmed to start at 12 in the midnight or something like that. But anyways, yeah. Randy, you had a question? No. Okay. So, the basic premise is there are two types of efficiencies or inefficiencies that we are targeting. One is appliance level inefficiency, which of the appliances are inefficient, and second is behavior level inefficiency, how you are using those appliances. If you leave air conditioning or heater on when you're out of the house, that's a behavior level inefficiency. If your pool pump or refrigerator is inefficient, that's an appliance level inefficiency. And we target both, and then we end up getting savings in the house. Now this.
So on that point,
Yeah.
this is replace, recycle. What's your model there? Is the model to benchmark?
The savings?
No, you're saying replace, recycle. I mean, that's appliance efficiency. Are you looking at that particular feedback to the customer to benchmark against efficient equipment?
Yes. So what happens is, I'll quickly, once I walk through it, I'll walk you through some of the portal stuff, where what happens is once we show people itemized, that's not enough. What we do is we compare it to the efficient appliances and then a return on investment. For example, if your refrigerator is only 10% inefficient, there's no way you want to replace it. But if it's 80% inefficient, then your payback time is only 2 years or 3 years. So we actually do that calculation and give people exact recommendation on, based on this deal available in the market for the Energy Star and this rebate from PG&E, this is your payback time on replacing this particular appliance. Then the consumer decides whether he wants to invest in that or not.
Going along the same lines, you said you have, I can understand the replacement and benchmarking, so that means that you must have some access to some profile of more efficient equipment.
EnergyStar.gov.
So you tap into that and you have you're linked into that and you're comparing, we know this is a refrigerator, you know you're using X amount of watts per.
Right, so there's a lot of variation because the size of refrigerator and all of those things vary, right? But go ahead, I mean.
Yeah, well, I'm assuming you're going to, so you're not asking the customers to tell you anything about their appliance?
No. So the good part about this is we realize if we start asking consumer questions, they'll fall off. They'll not give you the answer. When we start, we don't need consumer to tell us anything. Just give us the data feed from the meter, and we will figure out what appliances, how much it consumes, when it consumes, and then we may ask some questions to verify, but we don't ask any questions to start with.
Okay, now on the behavioral side, clothes washers, you talk about peak shifting. What?
That would only be if you have time of use pricing. If you don't have time.
Assumption is that there'll be some. So you made some assumptions to come up with these numbers.
Yes. So
we have time of use. Usually they're energy time of use only, right? They're not.
The residential is all optional time of use.
Probably change.
No, even peak day pricing will be optional too for residential.
Right.
So you made some assumptions about using
Yes.
some tariffs or something that, or
Yes. So to be basically see this number here is not going to be constant. What will happen is just like any large scale statistical experiment is done, this would have to be done over X thousand homes, and then you will see savings across those thousands of homes, and then come up with an average number. The expected number is to be in the range of 4 to 6%, 5%, whatever, around that range. But now. These are just an example of what could be the savings based on average number of dryer loads done by people based on DOE data, right? And then you know if you were running your dryer in the peak time and if you have some. So typically, in fact, I'll show you some real use cases that'll make it much clearer.
I was just wondering, we're talking about behavioral efficiency, we're talking about leveraging rates, which is dollar savings. When we're talking about efficiency in terms of, or energy saved, are you making, is this, would you be considering this to be a combination of both tariff savings and efficiency that you get from kind of a source energy standpoint, that you're looking at, I guess, lower cost of generation at the source, and is that how this is?
It's a combination of both. It's
Okay.
a combination of just reducing your consumption versus and shifting it potentially. So today it's all reducing because there's no time of use for most residential consumers. For most people, it's an opt-in, right?
Okay, no, that's fine.
So along those lines, on a slide earlier, I think on one of your first slides, I think you said something about 5% savings
Yeah.
expected. Where does that come from? Is there a study that you drew that from? Or?
Let me quickly run through this. I'll show you a slide where one of the study results are shown, and that's where that comes from. And then I'll show you some use data. So the next two slides are more.
So I realize we're taking a lot of your time, so don't worry about that.
Okay.
We're managing to 20 minutes at this point
Okay.
because we're asking questions.
Okay, so let's say we combine the two parts, that's okay. So next two slides are more like the programs that utilities can create to enhance the savings much more. So for example, rebate programs. Today, most of our rebate programs, for example, Energy Star programs are dependent on measured savings when you buy Energy Star versus a non-Energy Star savings, right? A new appliance, because you really can't measure what's in people's homes, so you cannot create a rebate based on that. So let's say today is a fixed rebate program, $100. People opt in, people buy a new refrigerator, and they sign up for the rebate. They get the $100 back. The few problems: one is you're dependent on people coming to you. Number two, they're free riders, right? What we offer is we actually figure out which appliances in which home are the most inefficient. You as a utility can reach out to those appliance owners and offer a customized rebate to replace. For example, a refrigerator. I mean, an Energy Star is 400 kilowatt hour, non-Energy Star is 500 kilowatt hour, but what's average in home is 1200 kilowatt hour or 900 kilowatt hour. When you find top 10%, you can reach out to them, offer a higher incentive, and get much more returns per dollar spent that you will spend for kilowatt hour savings. And that becomes you take charge of your program instead of you dependent on people coming back to you. And now because you can measure, now you can offer a customized rebate. That's
So is your plan, your business plan, to offer this as a service to utilities that can then offer it to the customers, or are you looking at more of a consumer end driven?
So I think
Bold strategy.
the primary service we would have is this one right now, just creating the whole thing. The rebates program is something we'll have to work with utility. If utility says, you manage it, you control it, we'll do it, because there are enough energy management program companies out there, we'll collaborate with one of them. But if utility says, no, we want to run it ourselves, then we'll say, okay, you run it. So it's more of just a program management issue, as long as you buy into the concept and think that this is useful. The second one is demand response. So this is where actually we are also seeking feedback. This is not done yet. This is more of a concept based on our technology yet. The previous ones are all products which are available as a beta. So today in demand response, utility would put out a demand response program for residences. For example, PG&E has a smart AC program that I keep getting the flyer for. And people will opt in to say, I want to participate in that, and you'll go install a piece of hardware. You incur some cost in installing the hardware and the hardware cost, and you get some peak demand. What we can offer is we tell you which homes have the highest peak during that hour, and the exact measurement, because we can measure each appliance and the total one, minute by minute. And then you proactively go and target those homes and incentivize them to participate. That way, you may be installing only 50% of the hardware, but you may be getting same amount of savings because you are now doing targeted DR. So that's the utility we bring here: reduced capital cost, but higher peak demand reduction by targeting just the homes which are the highest peak consumption homes. Quickly going over the miscellaneous questions that Kevin sent. The product will not replace anything technology-wise. It's a new product that will augment the home area network side. But budget-wise, it'll be using the same energy efficiency programs that may be less efficient than what we offer. The market potential is any home that has a smart meter with a home area network can use it. So based on the market extrapolation of 250 million smart meters to be deployed by 2015. All of that is a market. The top barrier we see is the opening of the home area network. The sooner or when the home area networks are opened for smart meters by utilities, that's when we can do the scaling of the solution. The status is, the product is available as a beta. We have thousands of users signed up on our platform who own their own energy monitors. We are getting all that homes, we are getting every minute, we're getting real-time data from their homes. So we have a lot of data for which we are validating the solution. In fact, I have not seen anybody else who has that much granularity and that many homes of data for this kind of application. There are users from all 20 different states in US. The non-energy benefits are we in future we look at providing appliance health monitoring. Since we know the signatures of the appliances and when they change, we know what's happening with the appliance and we can proactively figure out that appliances need maintenance. And obviously we can do some virtual energy audits for you when there are high energy disputes from consumers.
So you say you have over 1,000 beta users. Are any of those in our service territory?
I'm sorry?
Any of those in California?
Yeah, I mean.
And are you using meter feeds or are you using your
So
own?
all of these users today own their own energy monitors. Because smart meter data is not available to us publicly,
Right.
and because the HON pilots have not publicly started just in some small capacity, these are the homeowners who purchase their own energy monitors like TED and Blue Vision, if you're familiar with those. And so these are the enthusiasts. And they are sending the data to us every minute, and data is data. And we are using that data to develop the whole solution and offering it back to them. Yeah, right. So that's what gets us much more confident in saying we have a good solution, which is tested over thousands of users. Oh, please.
So let me just ask.
He's showing me stop. Is that 10-minute stop or 20-minute stop? Okay.
Is that 20-minute stop? Okay.
So let me actually, if you give me a minute, I want to quickly show you some screenshots for real. I can take that question offline that that gentleman had on the savings type. But these are the real users, real data from our platform where there's excessive refrigeration or excessive always on, and we provide, there's a huge potential for savings. Like these are all real users. This is not, not fabricated data. So. Anyways, go ahead. If there are any last minute questions.
Right. We'll do one more question and that's it.
On the prior slide, you had said, well, right there, top barrier.
Yeah.
So your major constraint is the utilities giving you open access effectively to the meter data, correct?
Right.
How much would it cost to put a Zigbee-style meter at a client location to give you 15-minute interval data if you had to pay for it yourself? Something you put in the mail, they clipped on it, or what do you think?
So we need a minute or so of sampling. Today, if you were to buy an energy monitor or a sub-meter, which you own, not the utility, it costs you about $200 in hardware, and you have to be an electrician because your panel most of the time says, do not open it. However, if you're not opening the metering side, you potentially could. So it costs $200 in hardware, and if you're not an electrician, another $100, $150 in installation. That's what it costs to get your own data feed.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thanks.